A woman shows kindness to a stranger, receives a miracle baby she never asked for, watches him die in her arms, then refuses to give up until he's breathing again. This is the most powerful story about faith, loss, and the God who brings the dead back to life. Stay with me. This will change how you see impossible situations forever. Welcome back to zhyvee, where we dive deep into the most incredible Bible stories that will blow your mind. I'm your host, and today we're exploring one of the most emotional and powerful miracles ever recorded. Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You're about to witness faith that moved heaven itself. Our story begins in Shunammite, a small town in northern Israel around 850 BC. Imagine a world where your social standing was everything. Now, in this town lived a wealthy, influential woman. The Bible calls her a notable woman, which isn't just a title. It means she was a major force in her community. She likely owned land, managed her household, and had respect, but she also had a deep spiritual hunger. She notices something special about a man who regularly passes through their town. His name is Elisha, one of the most powerful prophets in Israel's history, a successor to the prophet Elisha. But here's what's beautiful. She doesn't approach him because she needs something. She approaches him because she recognizes his calling and wants to bless him. She sees a weary traveler, a servant of God, and her first thought isn't, what can I get? But how can I help? She tells her husband, I perceive that this is a holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Notice that word perceive. This woman has spiritual discernment. She can see beyond the surface. She doesn't just see a man. She sees a man of God. So what does she do? She doesn't just offer him a quick meal. She goes all out. She says, let's build him an entire room. A private, secluded space on their rooftop with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. Imagine the expense, the planning, the construction. This wasn't a small gesture. This was a major investment in showing honor and hospitality to a prophet. And here's the kicker. She asks for absolutely nothing in return. No prayers, no miracles, no favors. Just pure, generous, unconditional hospitality to a servant of God. But Elisha is so moved by this incredible kindness that he feels compelled to respond. He says to his servant Gehazi, what can we do for this woman? They discover her greatest sorrow. She has no son, and her husband is old. In that culture, this was her greatest heartbreak. No heir, no future, no security in old age. A quiet, painful secret she carried. Without her even asking, Elisha makes an incredible promise. About this time next year, you shall embrace a son. But here's where it gets real. The woman's response isn't joy or excitement. It's fear. She says, no, my lord, man of God, do not lie to your maidservant. Why this reaction? Because she's been disappointed before. Maybe she tried for years. Maybe she's been a victim of false hope. Sometimes when we've been hurt, even good news feels threatening because we can't handle another disappointment. She was protecting her heart from another broken promise. But God doesn't lie. Sure enough, she conceives and gives birth to a son at the exact time Elisha predicted. A miracle baby, a promise fulfilled, and a heart finally healed. Fast forward several years. This boy is now old enough to go out with his father to the harvest fields. It's a beautiful family moment. A father showing his son the ropes. The sun is high in the sky, the air is hot, and the boy is laughing. But suddenly, disaster strikes. The boy cries out, my head, my head! Most scholars believe this was either heat stroke or a sudden brain aneurysm. His father has him carried home to his mother. Now, picture this scene. This woman who waited so long for this child, who received him as a miracle, now holds him in her lap as his life slips away. At noon, right in the middle of the day, her son dies in her arms. Can you imagine her pain? The crushing weight of her promised miracle being taken away? This wasn't just any child. This was her answer to years Now he's gone. Her heart, once healed, is now shattered. But here's where this woman becomes one of the greatest examples of faith in the entire Bible. Most people would collapse, scream at God, blame him, or give up. Not this woman! She carries her dead son up to Elisha's room, the same room she built out of love, and lays him on the prophet's bed. Then she shuts the door and does something remarkable. She doesn't tell anyone what happened. Her husband asks why she's going to see Elisha on a random day. Her response? It is well. Her servant asks if everything's okay with her, her husband, and her child. Same response. It is well. This woman is declaring victory while holding defeat. She's speaking faith while staring at death. She refuses to speak the problem. She's determined to speak to the solution. She isn't in denial. She is in defiance of the circumstance. She saddles a donkey and rides 15 to 20 miles to Mount Carmel, where Elisha is. That's a 3 or 4 hour ride, all with a single purpose. When Elisha sees her coming, he knows something's wrong. This isn't her regular visiting day. He sends his servant Gehazi to ask if she's okay. Again, she says, it is well. But when she reaches Elisha, she falls at his feet and grabs hold of them. Gehazi tries to push her away. You don't just grab a prophet! But Elisha says, leave her alone, for her soul is in deep distress, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me. Then she speaks the most powerful words. Did I ask you for a son, my Lord? Did I not say, do not mislead me? She's essentially saying, you gave me this gift without my asking. Now you have a responsibility to fix what's broken. She's not blaming God. She's holding on to his promise and his character. Elisha immediately springs into action. He sends Gehazi ahead with his staff, but it doesn't work. Sometimes God requires the personal touch, not just the religious ritual. Elisha himself goes to the house, goes up to his room, and sees the dead child on his bed. What happens next is one of the most intimate miracles in the Bible. He closes the door, prays, then lies on the child. Mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. The child's body grows warm. Elisha gets up, walks around, then lies on him again. Suddenly, the child sneezes 7 times and opens his eyes. From death to sneezing. That's a God miracle. Elisha calls the woman and says, pick up your son. Picture this moment. The woman who spoke it as well, while her child was dead, now sees him alive again. Her heart, once shattered, is made whole. She falls at Elisha's feet in gratitude, then picks up her son. The Bible doesn't record her words, but can you imagine? The vindication of her faith, the restoration of her hope, the fulfillment of God's goodness. Her refusal to accept defeat led to the greatest victory of her life. This story isn't just ancient history. It's a blueprint for how to respond when your miracle becomes your crisis. This woman teaches us 3 powerful principles. 1. Generosity opens doors to God's blessings. Her kindness to Elisha led to her miracle. It's a reminder that sowing good seeds often reaps a harvest we never expected. 2. When crisis hits your promise, don't speak the problem. Speak to the solution. She kept saying, it is well, even when it wasn't. Her words became a declaration of faith, not a description of her reality. 3. Don't let go of God until he answers. She grabbed Elisha's feet and wouldn't let go until he came with her. She fought for her miracle. What dead situation in your life needs resurrection? What promise from God seems to have died? Maybe it's time to stop accepting defeat and start declaring it is well. If this story fired up your faith, smash that like button right now. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're diving into more life-changing Bible stories that will strengthen your faith. Share this with someone who needs to see God's resurrection power in their situation. What's your biggest takeaway from the Shunammite woman's faith? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And remember, it's not over until God says it's over. Thanks for watching! And I'll see you in the next one where we'll uncover another incredible Bible story that will blow your mind!